Good afternoon, ducks, and everybody watching today on 3 to 4 Minutes with the Duck, which we already talked about is not 3 to 4 minutes, sorry, but just deal with it. But today I've got a very special guest, Chief Danny Peña. Chief, why don't you introduce yourself?
All right, look out. Introductions tend to be long with me. So I am Danny Peña. I'm a native of El Paso, Texas. I'm 45 years old, which as of yesterday, I needed to be reminded of because I've gotten to the age where I forget how old I am. Personally, I'm married for 20 years now and a half. My wife, Monica, and we have 3 beautiful children, 2 high schoolers, my girls, a senior and a sophomore, and our son who's in the 6th grade. My wife's a high school algebra and geometry teacher, and so she does all the math in the family. Ha! Professionally, I'm 22 years in the Air Force and change. I'm a career Russian linguist. Started out doing the signals intel in the 93rd Intel Squadron, San Antonio, Texas. But I was fortunate enough as a pretty decent Russian linguist to be recruited by the Defense Threat Reduction Agency, DITRA. And I did 2 tours with them back to back doing arms control interpreting in former Soviet republics. Great missions. I was very passionate about it. Had some great ad hoc opportunities, TDYs, supporting exercises, and TDY to the U.S. Embassy in Moscow. Returned to the 93rd Intel Squadron in San Antonio. Went off to do NIU. And now that I'm a chief, I made it to Fort Meade, which I'm an anomaly because as a career intel guy, this is my first time at Fort Meade in 22 and a half years. New member to the 34th, relatively, joined up, we'll say, January after the Christmas holidays. But oddly enough, I'm working operations and I'm pretty segregated from the rest of the squadron, which is why these interviews have been really entertaining for me. I get to meet a lot of my fellow ducks and get to know one of them at a time. But I love being a part of the 34th. It is the best squadron on Meade Air Force Base, and thanks to Chief Ross for that nice little new name that I've started using. I'm a runner. I'm a hiker. I do Bataan Memorial Death March, which unfortunately was canceled this year. I do the Air Force Marathon, and I'm not shy, in case you haven't noticed.
No, not at all. Which I appreciate about you, because even though you're segregated from all our ducks, I definitely feel like you're a major part of the squadron, and I hope they get the opportunity to feel that way too, because you're an awesome asset that we have on our team, and I appreciate you giving me your time today and give the opportunity for the rest of the squadron to meet Chief Peña if they haven't already, because it's an awesome thing to have you on the team. And I agree, best squadron in the Air Force and at Fort Meade Air Force Base. So thank you for that intro, Chief. And yeah, I don't know if you can see my facial expression. For those that are listening instead of watching, it was shock. And it still blows my mind that Chief Peña has been in 22 years as a Russian linguist, and this is his first assignment at Fort Meade. So welcome. Now you're stuck. You're never leaving is basically how this works, right?
That's what I hear, yeah.
But I hope our other linguist folks heard everything you said and know that there are plenty of opportunities out there outside of Fort Meade, which I think is an awesome thing.
I am happy to sit down and talk with linguists, Russian and any other. We can talk about what they've done, what they're doing, where they'd like to go. I'm always down. There's no silver bullet solution. It's got to be, there's no one size fits all. So wherever you want to go and whatever you want to do, a lot of it's in your hands.
Yep, awesome. Thanks, Chief. So first question for you. What secret conspiracy would you like to start?
I would like to start a conspiracy that Disney is slowly taking over, brainwashing the entire world through their slowly gobbling up anything that's hot and entertaining. They bought Marvel, they bought Pixar. They're going to buy so many more companies and intellectual properties that eventually they're going to control everything. They're slowly pulling the strings on all the governments of the world.
I like it.
Disney.
I will help you with that. Just let me know. We can make YouTube videos. We can do podcasts, all that kind of stuff, because they really put their claws deep into Baby Yoda, which is one of my favorite things, and then like modified the release and the rights to be able to produce things. They waited till everybody was obsessed with this adorable, cute Yoda, and then said, "Okay, now here's a toy you can buy." They were shutting down mom and pop shops on Etsy, and that's that's a I like it.
Yeah, this is
Good.
the way.
Yeah, this is the way. I have spoken. What's the best and worst thing about getting older?
The best thing about getting older is, without a doubt, you accumulate experiences. You have more adventures, and you have more things from which you can draw upon to craft zany adventures that you want to participate in. You can drag people along with you. Your net gets wider. Not only do you have the experience, you have the network. So you have a growing resource and abundance of things from which you can draw, and great ideas from there to just push the envelope and go crazier. Or
Yeah,
maybe you realize that maybe you shouldn't go so crazy and let's calm it down a bit. Uh, the worst thing about getting older is losing those that are close to you, that are a little bit more advanced in age, and that hurts. I think of the saying, "This too shall pass," which was touched upon in one of your previous interviews. It's both the strongest, most invigorating, positive saying, but it's also the most humbling and saddening saying. So getting older, I think, is kind of, I view it in that same light.
yeah, absolutely. I got some goosebumps, and then I flashed back to Senior Nichols' retirement, because I don't think I ever looked at the phrase "this too shall pass" as anything other than a motivational, get you through tough times thing. And it really does, like you say, humble you when you think "this too shall pass" applies to the good things too, and make sure you're counting your blessings and
Yeah, yeah,
enjoying the moment and living in the
yeah.
moment. Yeah, no, that was good. My goosebumps are gone now. It's also freezing in my house. It's not feelings. It's
Yeah, I
definitely,
see
I
your
don't have
sweatshirt. I've
feelings.
been wondering about that.
It says Monterey. I wore it just for you, for this interview, because I'm not a linguist, but I did finagle a TDY to Monterey with the boss and the chief for Visit
I saw
Palooza.
your whole misadventures with the chain. You made it happen. You spoke it into
I
existence. And
spoke
then when
it.
someone asked about it, no, no, it's happening. And then it just happened. I
And
saw it all.
here's my hoodie to prove it. The first day we were there, I got cold. I bought a sweatshirt like a dorky tourist, but I wore this one today just for you, and I told Sam Payne that earlier too. So here's my ode to linguists. That's for you, Chief.
Appreciate you.
No problem. I asked my son this one, and I wasn't gonna repeat too many questions, but I like this one a lot. How would you react if you were transformed into a fish?
I thought that was an interesting question, because I've seen some videos by Frank Z. He does some great voiceover nature videos, and in some of his videos he gives fish personalities, and he's got goldfish that just say Bob, Bob, Bob. But I'm also I think about Ellen DeGeneres, and she had a stand-up act, and she said goldfish had the worst. They probably had the worst memory of any animal. They probably just swam from one side of the aquarium. I wonder what's going on the other side. They swim to the other side. If I was a fish, I would likely be something along the lines of fast swimming, um, probably deep sea. I think of barracudas. They're fast, they're wily, they hunt, they go after their goal, and then after they get it, they kind of just chill. But I think that's my idea of how I'd be as a fish.
I like that one. I like that better than the freak out. I was when I read the question, I thought, well, I'd be a fish, so I don't know that I would react in any way other than a fish would, and I'd probably just swim around. I wasn't super imaginative. I was just like very logical about it. I was like, no, but if fish, I would just be a fish, I guess. I'd swim. That's how I would
Well, I think
react.
about swimming and having the ability to breathe underwater. It's got to be
Yes.
like the next best thing to flying
Yeah.
because you've got all the range of motion, go anywhere you want, and
Yeah.
you don't have to take a breath. You're breathing in your element. So, I mean, that's got to be just amazing. I
Yeah.
wouldn't squander that.
No, me neither. I just swim around. If your childhood had a smell, what would it be?
I immediately thought dirt. I, I mean, I was always
Your
outside
face
playing.
said dirt too.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, I played outside a lot. My parents had, I had toys and stuff, but um, I was, my grandparents, they had what they called their retirement home, uh, some acreage outside of town. And I would spend summers out there, um, the months out there. And I just went out and played in the desert. And so digging tunnels in the dunes and traipsing around and chasing tumbleweeds and little critters, the bugs and animals and stuff. Yeah, I smelled like dirt a lot as a kid.
You said
That's
it
my
and I
childhood.
smelled it. Like I remembered that. And I think that's something we could probably all relate to. I
Mm.
think the instinct to say like a food someone cooked, or the smell of your house or your parents, or something. But dirt, I think, is a good one because we can all relate. Because yeah, as soon as you said dirt, I smelled like being outside, just dirty, rolling around, like digging in the grass, and yeah, went through all my mom's spoons because I was digging tunnels in the backyard
How
and
many
moving them up.
action figures and little toys did you lose in the dirt?
Oh, all of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
all of them. My sister's Barbie heads, I'd pop them off, and
Yeah.
I
I
was,
go back years later. I was like, oh, here's where this one was.
yeah,
Oh,
it's like treasures. I imagine if someone brought out like a metal detector or something and like excavated my lawn all these years later, they'd be like, what happened here
yeah.
with, yeah, like you said, action figure dismembered Barbies and
This
spoons, lots of
civilization
spoons.
must have worshipped small muscle bound figurines.
Oh, absolutely. Awesome. Well, that's all the questions I have for you, and I know that as usual, I'm exceeding my 3 to 4 minutes, and I don't really care. But I'm going to turn it over to you.
What's time?
Yeah. Any parting thoughts or words of wisdom that you want to share with those watching and listening?
Uh, I feel pressured as a chief to impart wisdom,
I'm ready.
and I've been racking my brain um, since these interviews started. Um, and interestingly enough, I thought back to some of the simple, innocuous experiences that I've had in my life that often teach me a lesson that I can apply towards something larger. And when I moved into a new house a couple years ago, um, we did some work scraping and painting and doing all kinds of stuff. And I bought a plastic spatula to apply some spackle and some putty and stuff. And we left it in the kitchen. And sometime after that, we're doing some baking on cookie sheets, and it left a lot of crud on there, caked up, baked on grease and stuff. And instead of getting a scouring pad or a sponge or anything, I reached and I got that plastic spackle putty, and I used it to scrape all that gunk off of the tray using some hot water, and it came off magically. And because it was a plastic spackle putty, it didn't leave any marks on the cookie sheet. It was a stainless steel cooking sheet. So we started using that, and it's become an integral tool in our kitchen. And I thought about that after a while. I thought, how uncommon was it that we found one of our go-to cleaning utensils outside of where it's traditionally found? And that right there is something that I've now started preaching, started talking to and speaking to towards any operator, just no matter what their career field is. If you're looking to find a better way of doing things, maybe stop looking in the traditional place where tools are kept and tools are taken from, and find something that's innocuous from something else that can help you out. I think as a leader, it's important for us to help our subordinates look out for those little light bulb ideas and further them. When we see some subordinates using some of those ideas and haven't quite realized that it can be applied to a larger scale. That's, I think, something that can help all of us out to say, hey, is that something that's really helping you out? Where did you get that? Maybe you want to share that along. And I see that happen a lot, in particular right now, while there's a lot of this virtual meetings and stuff, and there's a lot more collaboration, maybe because people are bored and they're just seeking an outlet to socialize. And oh yeah, I do something with that. Oh, you do? No way. but yeah, those are my pearls of wisdom.
I love it. And in fact, I think one, it's a really great story, and like the dirt, right? It's applicable to anyone. You don't need to be from a certain place or function or career field to get it. Uh, Interestingly enough, I was thinking in aspects of people, and I think as leaders that are not, we're not using the tools as much, but I think we put people as well in certain categories where a linguist does a linguist job and only a linguist job, but maybe they're applicable outside of where they're at. So using, and I hate to say using a person like a tool, but equating
Hey,
that
I've met
we're
some
not one
people that
trick
have been real
ponies.
tools.
Yeah, I know. Hey, I'm right here. I can hear you.
It's a joke. We joke
I
here too,
know.
right? It's
Yeah. Oh no, I love joking. I'm never serious. It's probably the problem. But I think that can be applied in not just actual tools or functions of our job, but our roles in the military as well, and our that type of thing, and finding how to step outside or utilize talent management, if you will.
yeah,
We're throwing
yeah.
out buzzwords, but
You made me think of something else too, and I've been kind of thinking a little bit about this previously. So 22 years making chief for me, and people are asking me, "What's next? What's on your horizon?" And it's made me reflect on my career, and how there's always the goal of making the next higher rank. I think it's also really important to appreciate where you are and do the best at what you can do. Um, Kind of touches on what we discussed previously. Enjoying the moment. The experiences that we're going through at each rank, they're going to differ. They're going to be night and day. And some of the things that we leave behind, we long for.
absolutely. No, I can appreciate that for sure. And rushing through just life in general, looking ahead so much that you're not looking at what's right in front of you or to the side of you. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think we could all use a little bit more of that, slowing down and appreciating what we've got while we've got it, and maximizing our capability
yeah,
in the environment that we're in. So man,
yeah.
we went from goofy fishes and all kinds of stuff to some like serious. You gave me goose. It made me
You're
feel
right.
feels. I gotta get
I
out of
gotta get
here. Like
outside and go play in the
it's
dirt.
time to say something
Yeah.
mean to someone.
Mm.
All right,
I'm gonna
Chief.
go lose a spoon in the mud pile outside.
Yeah, that's probably where all my kids' spoons are. But I appreciate you. I was super excited for this interview. You did not disappoint. I hope I didn't either. But it was a great time, and I hope the folks in our squadron know you a little bit better now and take the time to reach out to you once we get back to whatever is normal, or even now to leverage the really extreme asset that you are to our team. So I'm glad to have you, and thank you for your time.
I'm honored and I'm privileged. Thanks for letting me be a part of this, and I look forward to seeing how the rest go on. You're doing a great job, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks,
All right.
Chief.
All
Bye.
right.